Hey guys, what's up? It's John Pants Play, the best in the world. It's John Grande live in living color here with you on this beautiful Monday afternoon. I'm just chilling like I'm doing like Bob Dylan right now, and I figured that I should continue with my top 20 horror films of all time list, because last time number 10 was Cannibal Holocaust, and now, ladies and gentlemen, we are into the single digits. We are up to number 9. We are also up to the first of a few horror titles on this top 10 part of the list that has a little bit of George Romero's flavor to it, and that is my favorite flavor of the genre, ladies and gentlemen. And without further ado, it's number 9 on my list. It's from 1976, and it's my absolute favorite vampire film of all time, and it is George Romero's Martin. Now, Martin is, I think, easily on this top 20 list, the most underrated one on the list. It may be number 9. It may not, be my favorite of all time. Obviously there's 8 movies that come a little bit before this, but it's the most underrated one on the list, and it's arguably the most underrated horror movie of all time, because I think it's masterful. I really do believe that this movie went over people's heads, and it really doesn't get its day in the sun. It doesn't get its due, and it's blasphemy to me, because, like, granted, the movie, if you're a diehard horror fan, you've seen the movie. I would assume so. I do know that the movie has eluded even some diehards, but this movie is just, it's so brilliant. It's the best vampire movie made because of exactly this. George Romero took what Bela Lugosi and guys like Christopher Lee and the whole vampire legend, and he said, that's adorable. That's adorable what you guys did in the 20s and the 30s, 40s, 50s, and etc. What I'm going to do, I'm going to modernize it, I'm going to make it my own, I'm going to reinvent it. And that is the hardest thing to do in the horror genre, in my opinion, is reinventing another genre that is already established. It's not done too often. Did anybody really ever reinvent the werewolf? Like, think of that. Did they? And not really. Did anybody reinvent the Frankenstein character? Granted, that would be a really hard thing to. I guess you could say zombies kind of did that, but I don't know. We'll stay with calling George a genius. And he reinvented what it meant to be a vampire with this movie. It tells the story of a boy named Martin, played by John Amplas, who absolutely kills it in this movie. I love John Amplas' performance. You really feel what he feels and sees what he sees, and it's amazing that how much you get sucked into this character and all these things, even though he doesn't really say much. It's not a big dialogue role. It's a lot of it's facial expressions, a lot of it's body language, a lot of it is that kind of stuff. He does have, good dialogue, but a lot of it is also just visual, and I think it's something a lot of filmmakers can't capture quite like George did here. But I've always been infatuated how this movie starts, the opening scene. It's basically this girl is on a train, and she has her own little room. She's in her shower, and she's getting, I guess, ready for bed. She puts her mud face on, and Martin breaks into her room, and he has a syringe, and it's filled with drugs, something to, I guess, put her out for a little while. And she gets out of the shower, and he tackles her on her bed, injects the needle into her, and he's trying to, like, hold her down. She's screaming for help, like, he's holding her mouth, and he's like, please, 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 I don't want to hurt you. And she's like, what the fuck, like, leave me alone, I'll take money, and you don't know what's going on, because all you know is that this guy has just tried to drug her, and you don't know what he's going to do to her. And the first part I thought was pretty evident. He has sex with her, but while she's sedated, and also he takes a razor blade and cuts her wrist and drinks the blood straight out of her wrist as it pours all over his body. And then the opening credits start. You use Martin, and then starring Lincoln Mazel, John Amplas. It's just such an amazing opening. Like, it has this, there's no musical score to it. It's just complete. It's completely played straight, and it really gets you into the mood of the movie immediately, like right off the bat. Like, Romero immediately gets you to lean up in your seat, itch your skin, eat your popcorn, and be like, for the next hour and a half, this movie has my undivided attention. And it absolutely deserves that. Now Martin gets off the train and he's picked up by Tatakuta, played by Lincoln Mazel, who was only in one other thing. He actually lived to be over 100 years old, which I thought was kind of a cool fun fact that I wanted to share. But he takes Martin to his house. Basically, it's his cousin, and he says to him, listen, Martin, I know you're a vampire, and I know that you have the thirst for blood, and I know that you have these urges to do all these things, but if I hear of a death in this town a single time, I will dispose of you how I dispose of any vampire. And you don't, like, as a viewer, you're very confused. You're like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on? Is he a vampire? Is he not a vampire? And Lincoln Mazel's crazy. He's calling him Nosferatu, and he has really kind of a funny accent, Nosferatu, and he hangs garlic on the doors, and like he's just like, so you keep your distance from me, you keep your distance from my my granddaughter, not his granddaughter, I don't know, like I guess his niece in it, because she also lives in the house. He says, please don't talk to her. I don't want you doing anything. You're going to work for me, and that's it. You're going to shut your mouth and work for me and not harm anybody. And Martin immediately like runs after him and takes the garlic and eats it. He says, it's not real. All these movies are fake. All these legends are fake about vampires. I can eat garlic. I'm still a vampire. And it's just amazing, the study of almost the human brain of this boy believes that he is a vampire. He also says in the movie he believes that he's 84 years old, although he looks no older than 20, if that. And you're just sitting there very confused. You're like, what is going on in this movie? And then basically, it's just Martin's everyday life in the town, and he has urges to kill certain people. He does kill certain people. He gets away with it. He's trying to make sure that his uncle doesn't find out. His cousin Tatakuta doesn't find out. And he also has kind of a relationship with this woman who he delivers groceries to, and she, her husband is kind of off cheating on her, and he falls in love with her, and she falls in love with him, and it's a real like kind of love story between those two, and you're kind of. It's sick because she feels like she needs him because she feels like he's the answer to her life problems. And it's the same thing in Martin's case. It feels like she's the answer to Martin's vampirism. Like he feels that she can make the pain go away and she can make the thirst for blood go away. And it's really, I know if you're probably listening, it's probably like, you're probably like, wow, that's very complex. Like it seems like a lot's going on. It really is. It's more of a drama, really, than a horror movie. I mean, horrific things happen in it, but it really makes you think about life, and I love that aspect of it. Just like I was saying before, like a lot of social relationships with people, sometimes you feel you need them to make yourself feel normal. Sometimes they feel the opposite way. They feel like they need you to make their lives feel normal. And I think that's just so amazing that somebody would tackle that in a movie like this. I think it's so amazing that somebody would take that vampire concept and make it about love, make it about relationship, make it about real everyday things that real everyday people deal with in their life. And I think that the best parts of this movie are when Martin actually, at night, like every certain night of the week, he calls into a radio show, and they're pretty much making fun of him. They're laughing at the whole thing, and he's pouring his heart out to these people, telling them that he is a vampire and what his urges are and how he does it. He sedates them. He cuts their wrists. He doesn't bite their neck. He doesn't, and he keeps kind of burying the old vampire legends. He's like, they all say that if we put a cross to you, or you eat garlic, or all the shoot you with a stake you or whatever. He says none of that is how it is. He says in real life you can't get people to do what you want them to do. He says in real life there is no magic. There's never real magic. He says he's basically the point he's trying to make here. Romero's point and Martin's is that sometimes in life you want things from certain people that you can never achieve, that you can never get them to give you, and that's just, I think it's just so, it hits home with me. I don't know why, but it really does. It feels so realistic, and it's almost like at the same time of, he has these problems, they're psychological, there are problems, but it's like he wants to deal with them in his way, and he wants to deal with them and try to share to the world that you know, maybe sometimes the world isn't all puppies, rainbows, sunshine, and all these things. Sometimes the world can be a dark, cruel place that'll, you know, take you down if you let it. And it's just amazing. It's just a really, really, really good movie. And I think it's just super underrated, and I think it's super neglected and underappreciated. I think that Martin is arguably the best horror film of all time. I think all 10 on this list can arguably be number one, because that's how close all these movies are. It was really hard to order from 10 to 1, I felt. But that's number 9. That's George Romero's Martin. Really, really good watch. Really good stuff. I don't think you'd regret it. It really is, to me, the best vampire movie of all time, because it really concentrates on people and how people live. It's not really about goofy flying bats and sharp razor teeth and hypnotizing women and crosses, garlic, steaks, whatever. Even though there is a steak scene in this movie, I won't ruin that for you. But I think it's one of the greats, because it really does concentrate on things that really hit home with a lot of people, and especially me. That's going to be all for now, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Grande, the John Pants Player, the best in the world. And I don't know when I'll be back for the next video, but I had a lot of fun doing this one. Just kind of talking about a little bit of good old Martin here, one of my faves. If you have seen the movie, totally let me know what you think. If you disagree, if you do agree, if you've never seen it, do you want to see it? Have I sold the movie to you? Because, I don't know, I'd like to think that I could sell the movie to somebody. Good producer, good seller, I don't know. But that's going to be all for now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for watching. I'm the John Pants Player, the best in the world. I am John Grande, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.